Good evening. NFL DFS for the divisional round after a super duper wild card weekend. Jameson Hutchison here with the greatest of all time, Joel Wirth. I don't necessarily want to ask how you're doing. I'm just asking if you're doing all right after the Packers debacle last week.
I am okay, recovering, just waiting for the news that Matt LaFleur is not going to be the coach next year. But I never, honestly, even when it was 21 to 3 at halftime, I never felt comfortable. And we were talking before the show, as soon as Brandon McManus missed the extra point on the Matthew Golden touchdown, I'm like, it's over. There's no way they can't survive that. So, yeah, I mean, there's some culture and toughness issues. And I've made this point on the Bluesky this week. This dude has had 7 years. He still hasn't learned to manage. I'll give him his props. He's an outstanding play designer. He's an above average play caller. After 7 years, he still hasn't learned game management, and he still hasn't instilled a culture. And to his credit, I mean, Aaron Rodgers was there when he started, and you're not just going to come in and pound the table and say this is the way it's going to be when you're a 1 year play caller who wasn't all that successful in Tennessee. But yeah, I mean, it's been 3 years since he's been gone. Instill a culture and still some toughness in this team. So yeah, I've had enough. I think the longer this goes on, I kind of think they're starting to work out a trade because this is kind of taking too long.
Yeah, it's supposed to have an extension coming up, but I don't know,
man. Did they announce Harbaugh yet today? Is that official yet or not?
It seems like it's unofficially official, if that makes sense.
I heard he canceled his visit to Tennessee, but I haven't heard any official word that they've got him under contract. So
I don't know. I would never go out of my way to just jump all in on John Harbaugh, but that's, I guess,
I would need. Yeah, after the game, people were on like Twitter and Bluesky were saying sign Harbaugh. Like, why would you sign that Schefter report? Oh, he lives in the UP. Who cares? Why would you fire Matt LaFleur and just hire the exact same guy who had struggled to instill a culture and lose games in just unimaginable ways in the playoffs? So, even that made no sense.
Even in the regular season, I mean, he's had a bunch of debacles as well. Just
massive collapses, the same as LaFleur.
Yeah, just a younger version of him. So
exactly.
I don't know. For all the Packers fans out there, sometimes you got to go through hell to get to heaven. I don't know if heaven is real, but it seems like you go through hell each year. So just
I know hell is, that's for sure.
Right. So we got 4 games this weekend for super duper divisional round. It's we went from just an awesome wild card weekend of offense. It seems like this divisional round is going to be a lot of defense. So we're going to get into that here. If you haven't already, just make sure to like and subscribe. A subscriber a day keeps the doctor away. That's what I've heard. So make sure to like and subscribe. But we will kick this off with the Saturday afternoon, the first game. We've got Buffalo going on the road to Mile High to face the Denver Broncos. The playoffs last year, the rematch, Bills beat them 31-7. So I think this game's going to be totally different than last year's. The Bills already coming into the playoffs pretty banged up. They have 2 more wide receivers die on them this week, Tyrell Shavers and Gabe Davis, both torn ACLs, going to have their legs amputated and they'll be gone. So we might get the return of Curtis Samuel and going up against the Broncos rested off the bye. So we got Bills and Broncos here. What do you got for us?
Yeah, the line on this game has been all over the place. Opened Buffalo 1.5. Now it got up to Denver by 1.5. Now, as of right now, it's Buffalo by 1 point. Denver by 1 point on the road, excuse me. So 46 is the total, 22.5 implied for Buffalo, 23.5 implied for Denver. I think we both said last week that we thought that Buffalo-Jacksonville game was going to be the de facto AFC championship game. I don't know that Jacksonville, it was kind of the classic Jacksonville didn't lose, they just ran out of time. Just the way that game was going, it was just, Jacksonville had the ball, but Trevor Lawrence threw that interception because they needed a lot of points quick. I still kind of think Buffalo's going to win. Those receiver injuries, that's bad, especially going against this secondary. You're going to run Keon Coleman against Patrick Surtain. Good luck with that. I do really like RJ Harvey in this game. The way we saw like Bashal Tutin just running off chunk plays in that game on Sunday. RJ Harvey's a pretty similar player. And honestly, Denver's got a much better run blocking line. So and I think Sean Payton's probably going to be very, very run heavy and really run the ball and minimize his Bo Nix exposure. So yeah, I love Harvey in this game, and then I know Denver has. I mean, the way you beat Denver is kind of on the ground. They're better against the pass than they are against the run, but not that much. I don't love James. I've seen a lot of people say they love James Cook in this game. I don't see that very much at all. But what do you think?
I'm into Cook. I don't love him. I love Harvey. I think Sean Payton should do everything that Liam Cohen didn't do last week, which was run the absolute shit out of the ball, which was unbelievable. I mean, Tootin was averaging 469 yards a run, and they just wouldn't do it. They just wanted to throw out Trevor Lawrence, who kind of did the Trevor Lawrence stuff. He was okay. I mean, he wasn't as hot as he was the last 8 weeks before that game, but we saw it especially towards the end of the first half. I mean, they'd run Tootin, it was like 10 yards. All right, Tootin, 10 yards. ETN, 10 yards. And then I think they had 100 yards after 8 plays rushing in the first half, and then they decided, Trevor Lawrence, you need to carry us to the promised land, and everybody fell in a ditch, and Jaguars are out.
I mean, to their credit, they were scoring. They were scoring with Buffalo. They just couldn't stop Josh Allen. So.
Yeah, but it's just it would make a lot of sense for RJ Harvey to. I mean, he's 6,200 on DraftKings. He's 7K on FanDuel this week, I believe, and it'll take me a second on the FanDuel stuff. Yeah, so 7K for Harvey, which I think he's in a good spot. He has not been like incredibly efficient. I mean, he is not like running away with just awesomeness, I guess, as a runner, but he's gotten a bunch of volume, and he doesn't really have any competition compared to some of the Sean Payton stuff of years past. We don't have J.K. Dobbins. He seems like he might be able to come back for the Super Bowl, which, we'll talk about that in a couple weeks if he gets there. But as far as, Bo Nix, I mean, the Broncos have won just a numerous amount of 1-point games or like single 1-point games this year. They've just all been really close, and that's what's kind of gotten them to the first round bye here. So it's just this game. It's like it's James Cook, it's Josh Allen. I mean, I kind of like Dalton Kincaid, but they talked about him being in a boot. I guess that's precautionary, but it's still not,
not
excited.
Great.
Yeah, not seeing. I would think that if the Bills were to win, it'd honestly have to be through Kincaid, but I feel like I've said that for the last month, and they win without him. So it's Khalil Shakir going up against.
They win by throwing the ball to Khalil Shakir 12 times for 80 yards.
Yeah, I think this just ends up being like a big defensive game, and it seems like we're talking not over each other, but just talking in a circle about nothing, because it's like Brandon Cooks, who turned out to be 2016 Brandon Cooks all over again. We got the news that Curtis Samuel might be activated after they paid him $34 million. He might come back to save this team. He hadn't done anything for the Bills so far, but it's like Keelan Coleman, who hasn't done nothing. So it's like nothing on that side. And then for the Broncos, it ends up being Cortland Sutton. I believe Pat Bryant will be back. He's pretty interesting, but it's like Mims, Franklin, Ingram. Just not a whole lot to like. I don't like Bo Nix.
I kind of like Nix and Harvey as a kind of contrarian stack, in that I think they will try to run like a bunch of RPOs and stuff and keep the ball. If they're going to let Nix have the ball, I think they're going to let him keep the ball and run with it and not make him throw it. Because I think that's how they lose the game is Bo Nix having a bad game. So I think Peyton is going to want to control possession, just minimize possessions. A lot of just keep Josh Allen, do what Jacksonville couldn't do, and keep Josh Allen off the field.
Yeah, and then Josh Allen, of course, he ends up being the highest priced quarterback on the slate. It's going to be he obviously doesn't have to carry anybody else with him. It just ends up being the one-man show for him, and that's how they're going to have to do it if they're going to win. But any interest in like some of these secondary wide receivers? I'll be honest, I do not have. I like James Cook. I like Harvey. Josh Allen's okay, but I mean, I'm not racing to pair him with anybody because I think it's just going to be him being Superman again. And then it's defense. I don't have any interest in any of these wide receivers.
No, I don't like Shakir at all. I mean, everything he got last week was like bubble screens, and you can't run that against this Denver defense. They will murder you doing that.
Yeah.
You can't throw behind the line of scrimmage against them. They will take you out. So, I can't get there with the Bills passing game outside of Kincaid. I don't think this is gonna be a great tight end slate. So I think if Kincaid gets a touchdown, I think he can kind of get there and be, if not the optimal tight end, at least kind of close enough that I don't think anybody's going to run. Maybe Loveland, but he's the highest priced tight end on the slate. So, I'm okay with Kincaid. If I'm going to stack, if I'm playing Allen, I'm mostly going to play him alone, maybe a little bit with Kincaid, but and I don't. If I play Knicks, I want to do it with Harvey and do it kind of contrarian. I don't like the Denver passing game at all. Maybe Pat Bryant is a flyer, but I don't like Sutton at that price.
No, so it sounds like we're both on this same. We don't really love this game at all.
I think we're on the same wavelength.
But we're trying to. It's 4 games. We're trying to make something out of it. So
something out of chicken salad, out of chicken something.
Right. So Broncos defense is pretty low here, 2,800, 2,600 for the Bills.
Yeah, I like Broncos defense this week.
Yeah, so pair him with Harvey. I think that ends up being pretty good. So, like I said, we're both on the same page. We're just going to move on to hopefully greener pastures here. Next game here, Saturday night game, the 49ers going on the road to Seattle. 2 weeks ago, Seattle beat them 13-3, but, I mean, it should have been a bigger wider margin of win victory. Jason Myers missed a couple kicks. Seahawks just had some missed opportunities, but seems pretty iffy. No George Kittle for the 49ers. He torn his Achilles. He is out for a long time. Just came out. Fred Warner will not be back. Maybe next week if they, get this far. Kind of having a hard time seeing that, but we got the 49ers going up to Seattle. What do you got for this one?
Yeah, San Francisco is 7-point road dog here. 45 is the total. So implied 19 for the 49ers and 26 for Seattle. That seems high for a game that was just 13-3. Was it 3 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago? It was 2 weeks ago, right? It wasn't that long.
Week 18. 2 weeks.
Yeah, week 18. So obviously I don't think the San Francisco defense is going to play as well on the road as they did at home. Seattle's got a week off. It's tough for me to see the Niners really Christian McCaffrey looks like he's running through mud, man. He's getting there with pass game volume, but he's crazy inefficient. I mean, he's getting like 3 yards a carry when he's rushing the ball. So, if there's a top guy I'm okay fading this week, it's probably McCaffrey. It's going to be tough to go play in Seattle with that crowd, with that home field advantage, with his team that's so beat up and now you lose Kittle, who's one of the best run blocking tight ends maybe ever. That's like Tongas is fine for fantasy, but he's not going to replace Kittle as a run blocker. I mean, he can score. He can get it done in the passing game, but he's not the run blocker or the blocker that Kittle is. So I think that's another big ding to San Francisco. I think that really hurts them in a game like this. It's a very strong Seattle defensive line. So I'm kind of playing this as this might be the kind of, I think New England, Houston has blowout potential. This could be a blowout game. I kind of like Seattle to kind of take care of business here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think a lot of the attention will get to the last game, the Rams and the Bears, because that's where all the playmakers are.
Yeah,
I could see Sam Darnold, which he came up on the injury report with an oblique injury. He needs to be playing. He doesn't need to be ruining everybody's life, tinkering with injury. But I think this game where the Seahawks can just stomp them. It's just the 49ers, the wheels are just falling off. And it's been this way the whole year, and they've had just enough gas to get to the finish line. And now everything is just starting to go out. And even if Fred Warner came back, I don't really think it changes a whole lot because the rest of this 49ers defense is just absolutely abysmal. They've kind of slowed down JSN, but I really like him as a pay-up option when you have Puka. We talked about CMC. I'm not really – I mean, it's going to have to be through the receiving game and probably more of a DraftKings play to play Christian McCaffrey just because of the dump-offs as far as receptions go. But like you said, he hasn't been good on the ground. I think a lot of people play Tonkus, the tight end, just because he's cheap, but I'd rather go elsewhere. I like Seattle. I like Sam Darnold. I like stacking him. Obviously, with JSN, I'd probably have AJ Barner as my other option there instead of Rashid Shaheed, who's been doing punts and all that stuff. Cooper Kupp has played full time, but he doesn't do anything. I don't know if he's had. It's been a long time since he's had 50 points. I want to look that up real quick.
How many 7-yard touchdowns can you catch in one game? That's
7. I don't know. I mean,
that's Cooper Kupp's ceiling right now.
This is full-time Cooper Cup, 4, 1, 8,
Yeah,
9, 11.
it's
So
gross. Yeah.
I'd rather play AJ Barner there. I think both the running backs, Charbonnet, Zach Charbonnet, and Kenneth Walker. I think both those guys are in a good spot.
Yep.
I would just ignore everything that happened last week against the Eagles because the Eagles are an abomination as far as just offensively offensive is what I would call the Eagles from last week. So I like the Seattle here, and I think it's a little contrarian to what everybody's probably going to jam Rams and Bears. I think that the Darnold stacks and just the Seahawks offense in general, that'd be the second favorite play of the week for me, and I think that's the way to get contrarian here too. So as far as the 49er pass catchers, we got Ricky Pearsall, who's questionable. We had Marcus Robinson last week popping off. We have Juwan Jennings. It just obviously the 49ers are going to be coming from behind. Do you have any interest playing the 49ers if it's not CMC?
I guess on the underdog site on the draft games, like Juwan Jennings sometimes really falls. So if he's contrarian, I think I'm okay with that. I don't know that he is going to be at that price though. And you're starting to see a lot of people take Pearson. Yeah, so if they're, unless the market is kind of lower than them than I kind of expect them to be, I don't really want to be on those guys.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said at the beginning, it's more of a defensive thing, and I feel like these first two games, it just seems that way. There's not a whole lot of. Obviously, you have to pick players, but I don't know. They shut down the 49ers 2 weeks ago. Brock Purdy, the way that he wins, I think the way to beat Seattle is kind of thrown deep on them, and because they just muddy up the, line of scrimmage and then that middle of the field, and I just don't think that it's going to be there for him, and I think Brock Purdy's going to have a lot of trouble. So I think the Seahawks will tee off on him. I like Seahawks defense a lot too. If you want to pair him with one of the running backs this week, they're going to be a little more expensive, but I'd pair him with Charbonnet. Charbonnet I prefer over Kenneth Walker just because I've tried the Kenneth Walker experience all year long, and I've not hit on it. So I'm not going to try it again. But I like Darnold a lot. I think Darnold could end up being the quarterback that kind of breaks the slate this weekend at probably minimal ownership compared to the other guys. So as far as that goes, is there anything else on this game? Like I said, I like AJ Barner as a tight end. I think that's probably my favorite tight end play on the week outside of the obvious Colston Loveland one. But is there anything else on this game you like?
Yeah, on the running backs, it's like when you look at that game a couple weeks ago, they both had basically the same game, except Charbonnet scored a touchdown. So I think you're trying to pick which one is going to score a touchdown. So at that point, and they're like the same price, right? They're almost the same price. So I'm going to build some of my lineups with Walker, some of them with Charbonnet. I don't have a preference either way. I think either one is fine. It's just guess which one scores a touchdown. And I like the Darnold call because I think this is you beat this team by the same way the Vikings lost last year by pressuring Darnold, and the Niners can't do that. Like they just don't have the horses right now. They're too beat up. So yeah, unless they sign Lawrence Taylor out of retirement or something, I don't know how they're gonna get to Darnold. I don't know how they're gonna pressure them. I don't know how this defense kind of stops Seattle in Lumen Field? I don't know.
Yeah,
I know it's not the Kingdome anymore, but
you're right.
It's so old.
And Darnold ends up being one of the cheaper quarterbacks too, so I really like that as well.
I think it's a good call.
Yep. So next game here, we will move to Sunday. We've got the Houston Texans going on the road to New England to face the Patriots. Seems like no Nico Collins. I'm not going to guarantee it, but he didn't practice today with a concussion. And then Christian Gonzalez on the other side is in the same boat. Both those guys injured and seem pretty doubtful to play. But other than that, that's once again another defensive showcase, I guess you can say. Both these defenses wreaked havoc this past weekend. The Chargers and the Steelers both just died going up against these defenses. So got another juggernaut of defenses. So we got the Texans and the Patriots here. So if there's anything, what do we got on this game before we get to
I get the Patriots 3-point home favorites here. 41 total, so lowest total on the slate. So 19 implied for Houston, 22 implied for the Patriots. I am full fading Nico Collins. The dude needed help to get into the blue tent. He was, from the sideline report, he was bent over. Couldn't even go into the blue tent. Needed a cart to get back to the locker room. Like when these guys have concussions, they walk off. They go to the locker room, but they walk off under their own power. he needed a cart to get to the locker room. It's a short week because they played on Monday night. There is zero chance that Nico Collins is playing this week. So I will have zero. I'm not even going to bother with the swaps or anything. I'm just not going to have any. There's no way he's playing. Zero chance. Yeah, I mean, you hit on it. Both these defenses could not have played any better than they did last week. So without Nico, I mean, how are you threatening? I could see it being a Dalton Schultz game, but CJ Stroud was so bad with the ball. Like if they get a couple turnovers early, I could see this game just getting absolute kind of wonky. So this is the game script that you want, Schultz, because I think the Texans are going to have to chase points. I think they'll be trailing. There's no Nico. So I think this is a good script for Dalton Schultz. It's just, can they move the ball enough for him to be relevant? And then on the New England side, I kind of just want to play Drake May just naked. Does that make sense? I just hope he gets a couple of rushing touchdowns and that he ends up being the quarterback you need this week. Because I don't trust Steph Diggs. I don't trust Booty, even though he got some action last week. The secondary is really good. Hunter Henry is tough. I don't trust any of these guys, but I kind of want to play it like maybe May gets 2 rushing touchdowns and then throws 1 or something like that. And then, there's no New England pass catcher you need, but May just kind of breaks the slate at quarterback. So that's kind of the way. This Texans run defense is really good. Gainwell and Warren just couldn't get anything going. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers just got demolished. So I think it's going to be tougher for them to do this week just because, like I said, it's a short week. They're going to go on the road for a second straight week. That's tough. So I could see this kind of getting out of hand for New England, but it's still really tough to trust that, Henderson, especially because Henderson and Ramondre is splitting time, or Stevenson or Ramondre. Yeah, Henderson and Ramondre. Because they're splitting time, it makes them really tough to trust against an elite run defense.
Yeah, if I would lean Ramondre Stevenson here, and I don't have a problem playing him this week.
I would too if I had to make a decision,
because you have to obviously play running backs. There hasn't been a whole lot of them, but I think Ramondre Stevenson. I mean, I can see the Patriots getting out of here I don't know, 17-13, 17-10.
Yeah,
I mean, I like Dalton Schultz this week just because I think he ends up being the next man up. I know Christian Kirk had one of the greatest games of all time last week out of nowhere. Jalen Noel he had nothing last week, so it'd be Christian Kirk, Jaden Higgins, and Dalton Schultz. I'd rather play Schultz if I had to pick one.
Xavier Hutchison, baby.
Oh my Hutchinson. God. Oh my god. Yeah. Technically we do have to bring him up a little bit, but no. I just those guys, and then they still don't have a running game. Woody Marks, Nick Chubb, both those guys just been You're hoping for one of those guys to get in the box going up against Milton Williams, who was just pancaking the absolute hell out of everybody last week.
Yeah, and Spillane's back this week, or he was back last week too. The Chargers could do nothing against them. Even obviously they were just absolutely murdering Justin Herbert, but they couldn't run against him either. So yeah, I don't necessarily love Woodrow Marks in this game either.
And then CJ Stroud, he just hasn't done it all year enough to, I don't know, that'd be super contrarian, but I don't have any interest in that. So defenses go. I like New England's. I'm probably going to play a good amount in New England. It's pretty expensive, and I know the Texans are good, but I think Drake May can just run his way past I think the Texans will get some sacks, but I don't think the Texans are going to have 2 touchdowns and get carried away like they did this past weekend. So both are viable. And then we'll get to the last game here that finally has some offensive firepower, hopefully. But before we do, you have anything else on this Texans game?
No, that's pretty much it. It's Texans just really scare me this week. I think there's some real implosion potential. They could be the team that puts up 9 points or something. Just does nothing for fantasy.
Nothing at all. So hopefully we can talk about something in this game, the last game of the week, Sunday Night Football. We got the LA Rams going to Chicago to face the Bears. That seems like it's going to be one of the colder games in Chicago. So looks like hopefully this is the one that kind of wraps up the rest of the weekend. We had all these defensive matchups, and then we have this where we got 2 offenses that are firing on all cylinders. I mean, Chicago fires on 1/4 out of 4, but they are still technically firing. So
It's really good in that one quarter.
yes, but Rams and Bears to finish us off here.
Yeah, this line is actually poked up to Rams by 4, which is interesting considering the weather, but 48.5, highest total on the slate by far. So 26.25 implied for the Rams, 22.25 implied for the Bears. As a Packer fan, I will believe the Bears are dead. Like, the Bears are a horror movie villain. I'll believe that. I'll believe they're dead when I see their brains squashed all over the floor. I'm not going to believe it until then. Devontae Adams did do something that warmed my heart a little bit and said I'm always a Packer and I always want to beat the Bears. So I could see this being a big game for him. He kind of looked a little rusty coming back off the injury last week, but had a game and now has a full game under his belt. I think he's going to be ready to go. I think he's going to have a good game this week. Man, the Bears corners look just before the Bears just started blitzing on every play and LaFleur was just completely unable to adapt to it. Jordan Love was just absolutely picking apart this secondary. So I don't see any reason why Matt Stafford can't do that. So I'm okay with playing Puka and Devontae together. I'm okay with playing Puka and the tight ends. I'm okay with basically playing any part of this Rams offense you want. And then on the Bears side, it's Colson Loveland, right? I mean, it looks like the offense runs through him. And again, the Packers had no answer for him in the second half last week.
It's definitely how it seems that way. The Rams defense has really kind of fallen apart over the back half of the year. Manuel Forbes looked really good at the beginning of the year. He's fallen off a cliff.
Looks like the guy who got cut in Washington.
Yeah, I mean, it's really gotten bad for them. So I'll tell you what, I really like Kyren Williams this game. Out of all the guys, I like him a lot. I think you could run on the Bears. You could also pass on him. You could do whatever you want if you try hard enough.
Do whatever you want, yep.
I really like Kyren here. I think the offensive line for the Rams will kind of have their way a little bit with that, and especially with the running. Stafford last week, I don't know if his finger actually messed with him, but the second half, things got a little wonky after he hit his finger in the second half against Carolina and all that stuff. Stafford's in a great spot, obviously. Like I said, I like Kyren Williams. I think Blake Corum's fine too. Higbee and Parkinson basically had the same game, just Tyler Higbee had a touchdown.
Yep, exactly.
So that's like, pick your poison there. And it seems like Terrence Ferguson's a full participant in practice. So we will be adding 3 tight ends to the Rams stuff. And then Bears side, I like DeAndre Swift too. I think you play him and Kyren in the same lineup. I know that Swift, they kind of got away with it from him and Monungai last week when Caleb kind of had to do his stuff. But I think Caleb's fine. I don't see this game going to where Caleb has another game like he did against the Packers. I think they're either going to hang tough or the Bears are just going to kind of get beat up finally. I think it's an awesome spot, obviously, for Matt Stafford. But honestly, on a short slate like this, it's very expensive, and you're going to punt everything else. But, Stafford, Puka, Devontae, and Kyren on a slate where all the other games are so defensive, there's not many points. I think it ends up being okay there. So
I agree.
Loveland's going to get owned, obviously, because he's the greatest of all time, and he'll probably end up being a second-round pick next year, and we'll talk about that down the road. But everybody's going to overreact. He's been very good. He's done his best Trey McBride impression, but Burden, Rome didn't do anything again last week. Rome Odunze had seemed like a bad drop or whatever it was, and then DJ Moore got a little bit of run. Any interest in the wide receivers for Chicago?
I kind of like Burden. I'm playing Chicago side through Loveland first. But yeah, I think is in the one game that I think could legitimately shoot out. I'm okay with a Burden Loveland if you want to kind of bring those guys back. If you want to play the super Ram stack, I think you're gonna have to play some Chicago guys. It just really doesn't make sense to not. So yeah, in that case, I think Loveland's probably too expensive. But I'd be interested in using Burden as a bring back.
Yep. So any interest before we get out of here? Any interest in defense?
Not in this game. You get 3 other games where I think you've got strong defensive options. So yeah, in the highest over under by far. Yeah, prefer to kind of fade these two defenses.
Yeah. So fair enough here. So divisional round weekend this weekend, obviously more defense than offense. It seemed the theme of this show, but
yeah,
before we get going,
I think this is going to be a much lower scoring week than it was last week. I think there's probably going to be a lot of dupes this week, honestly.
Yep, I'm right there with you. So before we wrap up here, we will do flag plants, and then I guess I'll get it out of the way. My Super Bowl prediction is already gone from last week, so I guess I need to make another one. I'll do Patriots and Seahawks. So I'm sure I'll curse both of those teams, and I'll make another one.
Mine is too, because I had the Jags. That was the one team I was certain on. So,
what kind of moron picks the Jags and the Eagles? Oh wait,
I guess
that's me right here. So we'll do a flag plant real quick, and then we'll get out of here. Your first flag plant for the divisional round.
I'll go right back to the top where we started. I'll say RJ Harvey. I think Denver is going to very consciously keep the ball in the hands of either Bo Nix or RJ Harvey. I don't think they want the ball leaving Bo Nix's hands. So I think, like I said, I think they're going to try and minimize possessions. I think they're going to try and do what Jacksonville should have done, keep Josh Allen off the field with the running game. So yeah, RJ Harvey's going to be my first one.
Yep, I like it. My first one will be Kyren Williams. I think a lot of people are going to play it through the pass catchers, which I totally understand, but we've seen these playoff games from Kyren. I know he's splitting time with Blake Corum, and it seems like they're going pretty close to down the middle, but I think Kyren Williams on a slate where running backs this whole slate's pretty iffy. I'm just going to kind of lean into Kyren, and I think you could stack him with Matt Stafford this week as a way to get different. I think on a slate like this, everybody's just going to play Stafford in the pass catchers and not attach a running back, but I think if the Rams have a big outing on offense, I think he kind of goes along for the ride with them. So last flag plant for the divisional round. If you got one.
I took Puka last week, so I'm not going to go back to that. Well, I'm going to say Loveland because I think you're going to want to bring back if you're going to go heavy Rams. I think I'm going to have Puka in like every lineup. I'm not fading that at all. If he doesn't have a good game, then I don't make money this week. That's fine. But on these small slates, if somebody goes off and you don't have him, you just don't win. And I think Puka's the most likely. So I'm not going to cheat and say Puka, but I will say Colson Loveland because he's my favorite bring back to that game up by quite a bit.
Yep. So I like it. And you make a good point. I mean, it's razor thin in DFS as it is. So be stupid not to have Puka could be the automatic there. My last one is pretty goofy and it seems pretty ignorant of me to say, but I'm going to say Dalton Kincaid. I think if the Bills end up beating the Broncos, they'll have to go through somebody, and I cannot put my money on Khalil Shakir, so I'm going to go Dalton Kincaid there. So that'll wrap up for the divisional round. Before we get out of here, Joel, if you want to let the world know where they can find you.
At the Joel Wirth, primarily on the Bluesky. I'm kind of getting away from Twitter. It's kind of getting kind of scary there. So. And you can find me on the Club Fantasy and on YouTube channel and Statement Games and IDP Plus as well.
There you go. So over on the Twitter machine at Jameson Rules here at the YouTube as well, Jameson Hutchison. Make sure if you haven't to like and subscribe. And until next week, hope you guys enjoy the weekend. Hopefully the divisional round is more offensive than defensive, but we will see. Hopefully we just get some good games. This usually ends up being the best weekend of the year, and hopefully it works out that way. So until next time, guys have a great week. See you soon.